They say love changes how we see the world, but in one forgotten kingdom, it changed reality itself. A prince was born clever but plain, with a single tuft of hair that mocked every crown. A princess, radiant as dawn, was blessed with beauty but cursed with emptiness. When their paths crossed in a quiet forest, words became magic, and kindness became the truest spell of all. This is the story of Riquet with the Tuft, where wit met beauty, and love taught both to see beyond the mirror, long ago, in the sun-dappled kingdom of Veril, where silver rivers curved between emerald valleys and swallows traced spirals over golden fields. King Alaric and Queen Isme longed for a child more than for crowns or treasure. For years they prayed beneath the moonlit skies until, one spring morning, their prayers were answered. Trumpets blared, banners streamed from every tower, and the queen labored through day and night while the kingdom waited for news of an heir. Yet when the newborn prince was brought forth, silence fell. The child was small and oddly shaped, his nose a little too large, and a single tuft of hair stood proudly upright, as though mocking all attempts at royal decorum. Still, his eyes glimmered with uncommon intelligence, and as he opened them, even the midwife gasped, sensing something extraordinary. The fairy who had come to bless the birth, cloaked in shimmering green, spoke gently. "Do not grieve, your majesty. I have given your son a gift rarer than beauty, a mind so brilliant and a heart so wise that he shall outshine every handsome prince beneath the sun. And when he comes of age, he may share his wit with the one he loves best." Comforted, the queen named him Riquet, though the court fondly called him Riquet with the Tuft, for the stubborn plume that never bowed to brush or comb. As the years passed, Riquet grew clever beyond measure, solving riddles before he could read, outsmarting tutors before they could finish lessons, and filling the palace with laughter. Yet beneath his humor lay longing. He saw the way others recoiled at his plainness. He heard the whispers behind jeweled fans. He learned early that wit could win laughter but not affection, and that brilliance could not disguise loneliness. His parents loved him deeply, yet the queen sometimes watched him from afar and whispered, "So wise, my son, but will wisdom keep you warm when love grows cold?" Beyond the Silver Mountains lay the neighboring realm of Armandia, ruled by a kind and noble king and queen, who, too, prayed for children. Their prayers were answered twice, for the queen bore twin daughters beneath a silver crescent moon. On the day of their christening, the same green-cloaked fairy appeared before the royal cradle and said, "To the elder, I grant the power to bestow beauty upon the one she loves best. To the younger, the power to bestow intelligence." And with that she vanished like mist at dawn. The elder, Clarisse, grew into a creature of breathtaking beauty, hair like sunlight, eyes like morning skies, her every gesture a melody of grace. But her mind remained clouded, and her speech hesitant, and though suitors traveled from distant kingdoms to kneel at her feet, none found conversation to match her charm. The younger twin, Leonore, was the opposite. Plain in face but radiant in thought, witty and wise beyond her years. Clarisse adored her sister, yet envied her freedom of expression, while Leonore pitied the empty glitter that surrounded Clarisse's beauty. Years passed, and Clarisse's loneliness deepened. The world saw her face, but never her soul. One spring morning, tired of endless courtly compliments that felt like chains of gold, Clarisse escaped into the royal forest. She wandered until she reached a quiet glade where sunlight filtered through silver birches and a brook murmured over moss-soft stones. There she finally breathed. Across the border, Prince Riquet had also sought refuge from expectations. Following a deer path, he stepped into that very glade and stopped short at the sight before him. Clarisse sat beneath a tree, her golden hair catching the light like spun fire. He hesitated, heart thundering, then bowed. "Forgive me, princess. I thought the forest was empty." Clarisse turned, startled but unafraid. "You may stay," she said softly. "The forest is surely large enough for two." They spoke at first of simple things, birds, trees, the stillness of the air, and then, as the hours slipped by, of deeper thoughts, what it meant to be lonely, to be seen but not understood. For the first time in her life, Clarisse felt heard, and Riquet, though knowing his face was no match for her beauty, saw in her eyes a sadness that mirrored his own. When Clarisse confessed her despair, that beauty without understanding left her hollow, Riquet's gaze warmed. "Would you truly wish for wisdom?" he asked. "More than anything," she whispered. "Then I can give it," said Riquet. "A fairy blessed me with the power to share my wit with the one I love. I would gladly give it to you if in a year's time you will decide freely whether to marry me. No command, only choice." Clarisse, uncertain yet touched by his kindness, nodded. "I give my word." When his hand brushed hers, a gentle glow spread through her body, a warmth like sunrise. Thoughts that had once eluded her began to take shape. Words gathered like constellations in her mind. Suddenly she understood music, poetry, and her own heart. When they parted that day, she looked at Riquet one last time, and though she still found his face strange, her heart trembled in gratitude. Back in Armandia, the court was astonished. The once silent princess now spoke with brilliance and grace. She debated scholars, composed verses, and charmed ministers with wit. Songs were written of her transformation. Nobles whispered that the gods themselves had touched her tongue. Suitors returned in greater numbers, not only dazzled by her beauty, but by her newfound intellect. Yet Clarisse's joy was not without ache. She could not forget the prince in the forest, his tuft of hair defying the wind, his words echoing in her memory. Each day she grew wiser, but her heart grew heavier, torn between gratitude and something deeper she feared to name. Meanwhile, Riquet ruled wisely in Vérel, his wit now tempered by patience. He no longer sought to impress, but to serve. The year passed slowly, filled with hope and doubt. Would she remember her promise? Would love overcome the mirror's truth? When the appointed day arrived, Clarisse wandered the royal gardens, her heart a storm. Handsome princes had offered her wealth, kingdoms, and jewels, yet none stirred her like the memory of Riquet's kindness. Her mind, once her prison, now became her compass. "It was his gift that freed me," she thought, "but it is my heart that chooses him." As the sun dipped behind the mountains, she mounted her horse and rode through the twilight toward Vérel. In the forest glade, Riquet waited, dressed simply, the same untamable Tuft catching the light. Clarisse dismounted, trembling. When she looked upon him, something miraculous occurred. His features, once strange, seemed to soften and glow. His eyes shone brighter, his smile grew warm, and his face, to her gaze, became beautiful. Whether magic had changed him, or love had changed her vision, she did not know. "Prince Riquet," she said, voice trembling, "I come of my own free will. I love you, not for the wit you gave me, but for the kindness with which you offered it. Will you accept me as your wife?" Tears filled his eyes. "With all my heart," he whispered. At that moment, the green-cloaked fairy appeared once more, her voice like wind through leaves. "Children of two kingdoms," she said, "you have fulfilled the truest enchantment, not the magic of wit or beauty, but the power to see with love. Let your union remind all that hearts, not eyes, define what is fair." Their wedding joined Vérel and Armandia in a festival of laughter and song. Clarisse's parents rejoiced in her joy. Riquet's kingdom found in her a queen both brilliant and kind. Leonore, the witty sister, composed a playful poem for the ceremony, teasing that one day she might use her own gift upon a worthy soul. As king and queen, Riquet and Clarisse ruled with wisdom and compassion. Their court became a place where ideas shone brighter than jewels, where poets and scholars sat beside nobles, and where children learned that beauty and intelligence were not rivals, but reflections of the same light. Some said Riquet's face had indeed transformed that night, reshaped by the fairy's power. Others insisted nothing had changed, but Clarisse's perception, sharpened by love to see what had always been there. But those who knew them best cared little for the argument, for in their laughter, their shared counsel, and the harmony of their reign, it was clear that the greatest magic was neither beauty nor wit, but the meeting of two souls who finally saw each other truly.